topic of my speech is the three strikes law in California. Should it be repealed? Three strikes law is a law that states if a person commits 3 felonies, he will be sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison. This law states that 2 of those felony counts must be violent offenses. However, it doesn't state what the 3rd felony should be. That 3rd felony can be anything. It can be murdering someone, molesting a child, or stealing a loaf of bread. Over 1,000 people have been sentenced to life under this 3 strikes law, and half of those people were sentenced for not committing a serious crime, but for committing a petty theft, for stealing a car. Nevertheless, the 3 strikes law stands. It's a flawed law and needs a lot of work in it. And so yes, we need to repeal this law. It needs to be rewritten. The 3 strikes law, say a man comes out of prison. He has 2 felonies. He served his time for 2 felony counts. And he comes out, and he's been out of prison for 10 years. He has his home. He's trying to live a better life. He's no longer a threat to society. He's aged throughout the years. But he forgets to pay at the gas station for pumping the gas that he used. And he leaves. His license plate is ran. He's picked up. He's taken to jail. He's taken to court then. And he's not given a fair trial at that point. The justice system views this man and they say, you have 2 felony counts on you. You're automatically sentenced with the 3rd felony count, and you'll spend the rest of your life in prison. That in itself is labeled as cruel and unusual punishment. Cruel and unusual punishment has been a popular topic that surrounds the 3 strikes law today, and over the past years that it has been enacted. Cruel and unusual punishment. November 2002, Lockyer versus Andrade. The American Civil Liberties Union argued before the U.S. Supreme Court that a potential life sentence for petty theft under the 3 strikes law constitutes cruel and unusual punishment. These people, they may have done what they've done, but once they're released, and they're released with 2 felony counts, they have to walk such a thin line. Anything can send them to prison. And that in itself is cruel and unusual punishment. In 2003, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the law against a claim that it was cruel and unusual punishment to give a 25 to life sentence to someone convicted for stealing golf clubs. So right now there is a man serving the rest of his life in prison because he stole golf clubs. Yes, he committed a crime. Yes, he deserves to be punished. Whether it's community service, a fine, or even a year or 2 in prison. But for stealing golf clubs, he's sentenced to the rest of his life in prison, sitting along other criminals who are in there serving the same amount of time as he, being in the same location as he. But those criminals murdered, they abducted children, they molested children, and they raped women. And this man who stole a set of golf clubs is among these criminals, serving the exact amount of time. So yes, that in itself is cruel and unusual punishment. Cooley said that while he considered 3 strikes to be an important prosecutorial tool for the justice system, however, it has applied unjustly for petty crimes, resulting in the public's loss of faith in the justice system. We can't afford to lose faith in the justice system. One set of law, the 3 strikes law, diminishes the reputation that the justice system has held. Now the justice system, it's a respectful institution. It does what it is intended to do within society. It delivers justice. Now, the public sees the injustice going on with the three strikes law. And so they use that one law to label the entire justice system. And if the three strikes law is causing the public to lose their faith, what happens when the public loses its faith in the justice system? What is its alternative? If the justice system isn't fairly administering justice, then the public will go ahead and they will take justice into their own hands. They will use their own means to bring justice. And what can that potentially mean for society? More crimes will be committed. Society will pay for it. Innocent people will pay for it. So it is important for the justice system to uphold the reputation. And by doing this, the justice system needs to reform the three strikes law so that it can rid itself of such a reputation. Los Angeles District Attorney, a man who at one point imposed the three strikes law, he has realized what it's done, the label and the harm that it's caused. And so he's for reforming the three strikes law. The three strikes law, it's a product of the justice system. The justice system in itself has its flaws, it has its loopholes, and so there's laws that are taken out of context, but in particular, the three strikes law has been. There is evidence that the prosecutors are often haphazard in their use of their incapacitation strategy. Serious criminals may escape the additional penalty, while petty offenders who present little threat to the public are in prison for long periods under the habitual offenders law. One thing about the justice system when it comes to the three strikes law is it is denying people of their 8th Amendment, which protects them against cruel and unusual punishment. So yes, the three strikes law needs to be reformed. It has to be modified. More rules and boundaries need to be set within this law. The three strikes law in itself is a good law. Yeah, but it is intended for specific criminals, not just for any criminal. Because they commit a crime, they spend their life in prison because they have 2 felony counts. That's unjust, and that goes against the 8th Amendment. So, it needs to be reformed, because this law needs to bring justice to the victims of murderers, rapists, and child abusers.